It's just not me. We have a full panel of fully experienced specialists. We call it supply chain specialists, logistics specialists. Like I don't want to compare myself. We don't compare apples and oranges. Mine is a different experience, and each one's is a different experience. But having said that, let me start off by introducing my fellow panelists. Let me start off with the lady first, Seema Kapoor. Uh, she has been in this business of logistics, especially of chemicals and the other goods, for decades. I will not say anything more. She is a good associate, a good friend, and a thorough professional with years and years, decades of experience. I will stop at that. And she will go on. And she's been with Jubilant for a long time. If there is one person who is there with whom we can talk on all aspects of the logistics of chemicals, that is Seemaji right here. Next, I will come across to our good friend Daljit Singh here. Daljit has got he has worn a number of hats, and in this, like let's put it, he's an economist, he's a thoroughbred professional, international relations, things like that. And Daljit, in his present avatar, as the let us put it as the representative of one of the apex ports in Northern Europe, Antwerp, he is he is well versed with all the aspects of the logistics scenario, and we look forward to hearing from you also. And let me then go across to Mr. Ghanshyam Singh. Then Ghanshyamji heads the supply chain, another veteran with decades of experience, now presently heading the supply chain in of Mrs. Cosmos Film. Cosmos Films is the India's largest exporter of bob films and various packaging products and things like that. He himself will give an overview of his what all he is doing when his turn comes in. And last but not the least, other good friend of ours, Dr. Rafi Sheikh. Rafi Sheikh is having done that, and he's one of those guys having done that, been that, now goes on to the next level. So let us put it this way. Uh, a big round of cheers to Dr. Rafi Sheikh. He is now enabling and ensuring he's taken on the mantle and role of enabling and ensuring MSME and small and medium entrepreneurs on in this sector, supply chain sector for chemicals. So uh, thanks all of you. Thanks, Dr. Rafi, for agreeing to be part of this panel. And before that, let me just start off with a simple thing. We all understand that India is going through presently some challenges time, as is the globally in economic thing. There's high inflation all across presently. Just when we thought that the pandemic is over, the global economy was doing well, and we were all moving into high growth environment, we suddenly see, and we all experience a supply chain crisis, commodity prices, a war, and suddenly if the global growth continues to be a challenging one, there is a lot of turbulence, but supply chain crisis still continues. The global growth is tapering down. We are going through different challenges challenges in growth, high inflation, etc. Despite all this, we see this is an exciting time and opportunity for everybody, especially in the chemical industry. As the sponsors here or the hosts, Indian Chemical Industry News, they literally say that this industry is projected to grow significantly in the coming years, and one is looking at double-digit growth. And when an industry is looking at double-digit growth over the next few years, the role of supply chain partners becomes very, very crucial. It is just not the typical or what is the time-tested logistic requirements. It is now one is required to go beyond and cater to the upgraded needs of this industry and support it to ensure an efficient, effective, reliable, and resilient supply chain solution whilst ensuring safety and compliance at all times. With this opening remarks, the way I would like to propose is that I would go on with all the panelists with a set of questions, and we have totally about 1 hour 15 minutes, 1 hour 15 minutes. So I propose that we complete it in around about 55 minutes, and the last 20 minutes for question and answer. I believe that should be fair enough. Is that okay, sir? Thank you so much. And can I go to you, uh, uh, Mrs. Seema Kapoor? The first question for you, I would like you to go first. Challenges in supply chain for chemical industry.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Ram. That was very generous introduction. So, coming back to your question, if I talk about the challenges, I think challenges in supply chain have already always been there for India. I mean, I've been into logistic industry for almost 28, 29 years. So, because of our poor infrastructure, we've always faced challenges. But past 2 years, the COVID time, I would say it was at a different level because of the disruptions that had happened because of due to lockdown. So challenges, I think, majorly for chemical industry is because we don't have. I mean, if I talk about general challenges, it would be the normal challenges which all of us face. Like it could be in terms of the poor infrastructure that we had there here, then the inventory issues, the booking concerns. So they have been, and especially like our biggest plant is in towards North India, so we are mainly using Dadri as a port. I remember a time that we didn't have any inventory of tankers or box containers out of North India. It's improved, but still, I mean, there are a lot that still needs to be done. And the COVID time challenges for again chemical industries. I mean, the awareness of the chemicals that we carry in terms of the drivers, they are not aware what chemical they are carrying. That is still coming in with the IMDG courses coming, and but still till the level of a driver, I think hazmat drivers. I personally feel that for getting a container loaded on a vessel, I mean, we actually go through a big process where at least 48 to 24 hours of approvals are taken from the line before we actually ship the material on it. But for sending it on road, I mean, we don't have any approval mechanism. So there are challenges. The chemical industry, and then the second point comes is because of the poor infrastructure, we have cases of leaking or from ISO tank. Then we don't have trained people. We still don't have the professionally trained people. It gets done, but again, there's no single agency we could contact that there's a leaking that's happening. How do we handle this concern? I mean, and the similar things when we see across when our containers sometimes at a transshipment port or somewhere in Europe or US, the same procedure would require hundreds of formalities to be completed, to be proceeded before anybody actually comes near has container. But I think India we just handle it just like a normal container, so that's a big challenge.
Thanks, Simaji. I just wanted you to add a couple of more points. Like during this COVID times, the challenges that enhanced. Do you think it has changed? And then how did you cater to all this various things, especially during this time when COVID still continues to play a major part? And with the various other restrictions still going on in China, because I understand that you do have quite a bit of a trade also with China. So would you share your experiences, please?
See, COVID challenges, I think anybody who's been associated with supply chain, especially logistics, we all understand. The costs, I think that this was the era where the cost was at its peak and the service was at its lowest point. So I mean, we were paying like 80-90% extra freight, and we were getting the most poor service. We read articles where the shipping line reliability ratio actually dropped to 34%, and the cost increased by 80 to 90%. So I think the biggest challenge was in terms of not getting the service which you are paying, and still, I mean, we had no option but to pay. And China, yes, and these kind of situations, as I say, these are the new normals for any supply chain professional now, because we are still not close to normal. We keep hearing articles where the cost has gone down, but we don't see that happening. in when we actually go to buy a container, it may be few dollars here and there, but again, then there is a line which is skipping vessels, and again, everything comes back to where it was. So there have been challenges. I mean, and the most biggest challenge is the unpredictability that has come in. You know, you don't know. You know, I mean, suppose we are planning for a shipment, or we are planning with strategizing that we are taking an order, that what is the costing that we have to do in terms of the freight. We don't know. I mean, I mean, that's the question. Like most of the my business team asks me. You know, I mean, your cost is at a peak, and we are hearing articles that it's gone 15-20% down. So, what is going to be for next year? So, I cannot predict anything. You know, because I keep talking to lines, and they keep telling me that not before 2023 would you see a decline, and I'm not sure when would we come to a level which is pre-COVID. I don't know about that.
Thanks, Himaji. That is really the putting the benchmark right there. It is like we have, even despite paying top price, double the price, we're still not getting the service. The service parameters dip drastically. This is unsaid. Fingers crossed. Hopefully things will be better. Can I now move over to now the you have heard all these things. I move over to LG Singh ji. See, like you just heard a client talking about it, how you as a port, uh, how have you, what are the things which you have done to take, and the same question goes to you. What are the challenges in the
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Ayyar. Captain Ayyar, I could just hear half of your question. So if you can just repeat it.
all right, let me go back again. I said, like, you heard Simaji talking about her side of the thing, challenges. Now we'd like to hear about the port's challenges. How did you overcome all that stuff? And going forward, what do you see how it is going to be?
Yeah, I think thank you for that. I think as a port, and you already mentioned that we are one of the apex ports in Europe. We also one of the largest chemical clusters in Europe, and the second largest in the world after Houston. So we do have a multi set of challenges as a port that we have encountered. Uh, as a port, we do majorly three operations. One is cargo handling, which is what Seemaji just described about the kind of challenges a shipping line or a client has faced in terms of cargo, coming and sending the cargo from India. But the similar challenges have been there at the port also in terms of how we've been able to manage because of unpredictability, different kind of set of challenge lines coming in. The planning, what was pre-COVID, was totally gone haywire. So that is typically one. The second kind of operation that we do at the port is more about value-added logistics, and this was something which was kind of thing that we always add. Like companies in the port are quite versed to do blending and all these aspects, and they can do toll manufacturing. They can repack the boxes and chemicals that come in different forms. But because of unpredictability and because of totally unpredictability by shipping lines, shortage of containers coming in, we had all this warehousing really struggling to really do that value add because of uh, companies trying to be just in time kind of model that was existing, and we have big pipelines. So these were the challenges that companies were not able to do. Plus there was a complete shutdown in many places, so you had the different truck operators not there in place. So these were the challenges in terms of the logistics part of it. The third aspect of our port is the industry, which is the biggest industry in terms of chemicals. We have companies like Total, BASF, which really rely on all the kind of raw materials that come from different parts of the world, and they do all the processing out there, which then gets distributed across. So the three sets of challenges quite different for the port in terms of how we there, the cargo handling, the value add, the logistics part, and the industry. So different kind of challenges that really came across. And over a period, and we'd also talk about the new aspect about sustainability. So that brings another set of challenges for the port. When it comes to logistics handling, because everything now you talk about has to be carbon reduced carbon footprint. So those are set of big challenges that we face at the port right now.
Thanks, Jaljit ji. Now I go across to Dr. Gansham Singh. Gansham ji, would you like to share your viewpoints and your things on the challenges facing the supply chain industry as far as you are concerned, and your take on that, please?
Thanks, Mr. Riya. So, uh, not only chemical industry, but overall, I would say the last 2 years was the very challenging for all the supply chain professional because lots of unpredictability, lots of reliability issues was there. If I say specific to the chemical industry, we earlier what used to happen, we had a ideal scenario like we were getting the order, we were processing, booking with the shipping company, it was moving. So one call, most of the thing was resolved. But now in this scenario, the things are becoming very challenging. Reliability is almost at a negligible level, I would say. If you book, if you talk to the shipping company, they will give you different story and try to charge you 2 times or 3 times of whatever the cost was before COVID. Now that's a challenge. And second, we are a company who is selling the product to the customer and charging the shipping cost. So for example, if I'm booking some consignment, I'm taking order from a customer, I'm taking 2 months in advance and I'm shipping to after 2 months and every week prices was changing. So what should I charge to the customer? So it was a big challenges. Second, it's if most of the chemical products go to B2B, right? So other customer, our customer is depend on our input material. But when we see the reliability of shipping, suppose the lead time is 90 days or a 60 days, it is moving to 2 days, 2 month or 3 month, right? So that is leading to a challenge at a customer end, and which is impacting the overall supply chain scenario. Apart from that, there was a multiple lockdowns happened in a different countries. So, for example, one ingredient supposed to come from a Europe, second was supposed to come from other country, and they just all of a sudden lockdown. So entire chain was disturbed. So that was a very challenging scenario in last 2 years, and availability, reliability from a material point of view and from a shipping point of view was a challenge. As we see, India is the ninth largest exporter and ninth largest exporter and sixth largest importer of chemical product. And the infrastructure that we have in general is a very challenging. If we see India, western part is covered with the chemical companies, but if your plant is not in the western part, means other than Gujarat and Maharashtra, getting a vehicle is always a challenge. Right. So such kind of challenges, I feel the chemical industry is facing. Although now market dynamics is moving in other direction, so we feel that the situation will keep on improving.
Thank you so much, Jandi. Thank you so much. Like there has been, I can see the challenges all around. I can add to the challenges myself. But before doing that, I will let Dr. Rafi chip in with his views on this, on the same query, please. Dr. Rafi.
Yeah. Thank you, Ram sir, and the team. When I'm listening this, the feedback from Seema Kapoor and Mr. Singh, these all the painful points I've gone through personally. When as a scientist, as an end customer of an industry, so who is a scientist, who is the end customer, and taking all this painful point and relaying under the supply. When we want to, when as a scientist, a professor, we want to do some research, we typically depending on the chemicals. Like it may be the research organizations or a chemical as a business. Whenever we have to try to get a chemical, as Seema Madam has mentioned, it will take more than 2 to 3 months time. And we have to keep on requesting our supply chain, hey, when we'll get a chemical. So that there is a two side. I have seen this the biggest gap. All as the panelists mentioned, all the industries has adopted the technology. Why not as a chemical industry has to adapt this technology and we can solve this the biggest problem of supply of any chemical products, including the supply chain or maybe the availability of the chemical products. Still now, from though the chemical industry is the third largest industry in the world after oil, gold, third largest industry is the chemical industry. In India alone, it's a $260 billion market. If you talk about the global, it's a $5.7 trillion industry. It has not digitized. Coming back to the supply chain, we are depending on the three types of supply chains. One, country to country. Like if you need any chemical, just we are looking, my shipping is what is your ship metal is coming through by air or maybe the sea. That's the primary level. And if you can go for type 2, type 3, is compared to the cross-border transaction, cross-border shipping. In the domestic level itself, there is the biggest problem. It means like we're just like in a one company, directly they're shipping the product to the other country. It means just like you're taking your the child directly from the higher education without training for basic level of an education. Directly you are joining for an Oxford University. And if you want to follow all the regulations and compliance, it's very difficult on this. So when as an entrepreneur, we have taken digitizing this opportunity, digitizing the chemical industry, we have faced the biggest problem is the logistics in the chemical. Till now, chemical industry, there is no dedicated logistics company for a chemical industry. It means if you want to ship one chemical domestically from Gujarat, Vadodara to Hyderabad or Bangalore, there is no dedicated logistic company for a chemical. So what they're doing typically, among all the packets, all the boxes, like a phone box is there and also chemical box is there.
Thank you, Dr. Rafi. That is like either you're frozen or something, but still, as I see, you have highlighted the reality issues and things like that. This is where we all agree on the challenges, infrastructural challenges, and the various challenges which has posed in the present time due to logistics challenges still persist. Despite that, as we said, like this industry is slated for a phenomenal growth over the next few years. Considering when we're talking of double-digit growth, as is shared by all the pundits all across. Now, how are we going to do that? But we, as the logistic chain personnel, we are there is like we need to ensure safety and we need to ensure a safe and secure logistics and that is the topmost critical issues because we cannot afford uh, any affairs like something of Beirut or anything of the sort. We need to ensure that the entire supply chain, right from the factory to the fine and consumer warehouse at the destination, not the initial warehousing, right along the entire thing. The entire thing needs to be secure and compliant. These are the critical factors. The safety is of paramount thing. And how is I would like you to talk about it, and I will start with because I can talk about it a lot and things like that. This is what is most critical in India, as well as because we are talking about Indian exim supply chain with an Indian scenario with a global outlook. Let us talk about it. Let's talk about that one. Simaji, would you like to start again on this one, please? Safety and security and compliant logistics.
I think I come from a chemical background. Jubilant is one of the biggest exporters of DG chemicals from India. So compliance is a big part of our it's very big. It's huge in compliance. So it can be compliance which are related to the government because we cannot afford to. It's a compliance situation where we cannot afford to miss because a small glitch here and there can cost a life, the kind of chemicals that we are exporting. So this is huge for us here. And again, I mean, coming from a chemical background, safety. We have very stringent compliance measures within Jubilant. Each container or a tanker which reports to our plant has a set of measures for safety that it has to go through. In terms, I mean, there is a certification that we take from the lines. There is a certification that we take from the tank operators. Then there is a certain test of certification which we do for each container that reports at our plant and is moving out. So I mean, that is on part of compliance. So it can be in Jubilant, if we are sending a has material, it has to be palletized. That is again one part of the compliance. So compliance is huge for us. Compliance is, I mean, the key motto for Jubilant would be that we cannot compromise on compliance. There might be a delay, but there cannot be no compromise on compliance. So that would never be acceptable. So yep.
Thanks, Simaji. Understand, like someone as big as what Jubilant is, compliance is topmost agenda
Yeah.
because now your reputation
I
at
mean,
and
yeah, I mean, we might miss a vessel, we might delay a shipment, but we'll never compromise on compliance.
thank you
So
so much.
that,
We
yeah,
understand. Well, Ghanshyamji, I'll come to you on this one. What would you as at Indophil, what would you would do on that, sir? Your take on
The compliance, health, safety is non-negotiable for any organization. We also follow very rigorously, and we have a multiple checks for that. But I'll give you the, other than Cosmo, the broader view. Indian chemical movement is almost 57% by road, 35 to 37% by rail, 7 to 8% by sea, and 1 or 2% by air. When it comes to the road, container movement is not an issue. It's a seal, it will go to the port and all those stuff. There is no issue. But when you send a part load, that's a big challenge, right? And as I work for the food industry also, so I have seen that, like Mr. Dr. Rafi also mentioned, you can see that there is a chemical drums, there is a food packets going in a one truck. Right? So although I'm sure those companies also follow all the norms, but when they hand it over to the truck, they check everything. But what is happening in between is the biggest concern. So I feel that that is a gray area which, as a industry, we need to work on. That how we can ensure that the chemical and non-chemical does not go together, and which is a very challenging area. Although there are multiple tracking mechanisms are there, multiple ways are there, but like again, as Dr. Rafi said, that there is no dedicated chemical company. So if I give order to one company, they may be doing a chemical business plus food plus something apparel or something, right? And they focus on optimization of traffic. So this is that area is a very challenging area, and we I feel that we as an industry should work on that.
fully agree with you. Cannot endorse this last statement of yours any further. This is a very valid statement. I want to, before I get on to Daljit and Rafi, before that, I just wanted to share something. You talked about the lovely thing about how much moving by road, quantum moving by road, quantum moving by rail, and things like that. Well, we don't even talk about the coastal movement. We don't talk about various safe movement. All right, we will not get into that because India is a different challenge. But more importantly, I want to get on to the small things. Well, companies, organizations, big organizations like Cosmos Phillips and Jubilant have the set norms. You have the beautiful safety and compliance thing. You can delay it. You have to ensure that there is zero cases of non-compliance. So all those things are very well understood. Now, Dr. Rafi will come and say that now where is the entire thing right here? Indian exempt trade especially when you talk about the chemical sector, you talk about 60 to 70% is only the organized sector. You have a significant 30 to 40% full of traders and unorganized sector. End of the day, we are talking about the Indian chemical industry as a same. There is, as Simaji started right from the beginning, it starts right from the beginning, right from understanding your product. Is it being packed properly? Is it being moved in a safe and compliant manner? Is it being packed in a safe manner? Is it being compliant in a safe manner? Is it being moved and then shipped, declared, documented, everything in the proper manner? The entire thing. It is not about doing that compliant and safety issues, because how many people, it is like, this is where educating our entire community is of top importance. That's what is my on that. It is educating the entire community to ensure that it is their safety, it is our safety, the safety of the product, safety of everyone along in this entire logistic chain, which is of paramount. Because without compliance, there is no point in having class 5 next to class 3 or class 2. How does one understand? People trying to understand, or we do not want anywhere, anytime, someone to come up and say, "Ye chalta hai, hum to," that chalta hai attitude just cannot, that it is okay. As Ghanshyamji just said, he said, like, I did everything, but these two chemical cans, this is the small thing, went across with a full truck of food particles. This is serious issue. These are the thing. How are we going to address this other thing? As this, as the leading members of the supply chain on this, because we are here talking how to enhance on what are the takeaways for this. So we need to be aware of this thing. At this point, may I request Daljit ji to share his inputs on this one to ensure safety and compliant things. What is his take? How is Port of Antwerp, and what is his personal take on this? Port of Antwerp will do that thing correctly. What is his personal take on this? And then I'll come to Dr. Rafi Dara.
Thank you, Captain Ayer. I think one of the things it just highlighted is all about compliance is a must for everything, and we comply to all the international norms. I'm just talking first on the Port of Antwerp thing. What we Port of Antwerp Bruges, what we are doing as compliance. So we follow because we are one of the largest chemical clusters. We have to be compliant to all the international laws and European laws that are there. With specific regulations being laid down for environment, traffic, and safety of all the products as well as transportation that happens at the port. And Ms. Seema just talked about, how, and you also spoke about how you actually break down compliance into different structures, not only just, transportation. It could be how you pack your products, how you transport them, how you refill them. So all these are really aspects that are really important. For example, at the port, we have dedicated, approved warehouses, service providers for each and every category. If it's a hazardous product, then there are only those kind of approved product companies that can do that. If it is logistics, then only those kind of companies do that. We have a big pipeline that comes in. We almost have 1,000 kilometers of pipeline at the port, which carry chemicals from one part from the port to Germany, Netherlands, France. So, all these aspects, if we talk about the compliance, unless we are compliant, we not be able to do that. Coming back to my take, I think there is a lot of learning that, it can be taken from what Port of Antwerp Bruges has been doing. And Ghanshyamji just mentioned that, how we lack in terms of, the maybe the road transport that we have, or, the transportation that we have. We have the similar kind of model. Most of our shipment distribution from the port happens by way of inland navigation, inland transportation. Almost 40% is done by that. Plus, rail network is also going to be doubled by 2030. So we're talking about, reducing the carbon footprint also in that terms. So that also falls under the whole sustainability compliance part of it. My take on it, I think we also, as Indians in the logistics sector, we need to learn from mostly all the global practices that are adopted. And that would be really helpful. As a port, we also take an initiative for training. We have a training institute at JNPT, which is a joint venture between Port of Antwerp and JNPT. This is particularly to train people on the different aspects of the port operations in logistics. We recently conducted a specific course on handling of dangerous goods. These are things which we do as a non-profit organization for us to be a part of the global supply chain.
Thank you so much. Dr. Rafi, finally I come to you with your experience and things of that, please.
When we started this marketplace, the key thing is logistics is involving. 2015, when I approached for the logistic company in Delhi, they came forward, sir, we are ready to help digital logistics for a chemical companies. Like it means like the buyers of or marketplace is sitting somewhere in Dehradun, seller is sitting into the Madurai. So we want to take the chemical from pan India. So how we'll take it, connect these two businesses together and ensure that logistics has to be safe. So when we interact, when we discuss about the logistic companies, they mention, sir, we are not trained. We are not a professional in the chemical logistics. Then what we did, we have taken 6 months training for them. Before we ensured we start our operations, we have reached to all these logistic companies, different states. We bring all the logistics owner or the persons who is handling this, the team. We have bring them into the one table and given the SOP and MSDS training for them. Then we have taken into the logistics. Now we are moving per hour more than 300 chemicals delivering the pan India right now. So this is one option, immediate, like a just in time, how we can resolve this. Later, we came into the next approach. Why we have to ship the chemical from Dehradun to Hyderabad? So if we can connect the clusters, as the Mr. Singh is clearly mentioned, if we connect the logistics, if we connect these clusters together into the digital, then there is no point of discussing about the logistics at all. So what we did, we have in India, we are having more than 178 chemical clusters. These 178 chemical clusters, if you can see here, more than 50% or the chemical contribution coming from Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Telangana. These 3 states, we are bringing all these clusters together, connecting in our digital network. If the chemical is available, MADC need not to get the product from GADC, so that you can reduce the logistics and deliver the product, because just you are carrying the bomb and from one location to another location, rather than taking from such a long distance. Why don't you get the product from your neighbor location and deliver it to the quick just in time, so that you are saving your logistics, you are giving a better advantage for the business, rather than taking the chemical transportation. Because until unless we have given the proper SOP training for the chemical, the logistics as has been ensured, so we can take this as a secondary approach. Now we are bringing this into the pan India, and we are taking all these clusters into the digital. And just I want to add one more thing here. If you can see here, we are talking about the expertising of the chemical businesses. 97% are small and medium-sized enterprises in India. As Ramsar is clearly mentioned, 5.2 lakhs of any chemical businesses, they are coming into the traders, distributors, just chalta hai the mindset is having. So these are the small and medium-sized enterprises. If we can give the proper training for them, ensure that importance of the logistics, because enterprises like Seema Madam is already there following these approaches. So there is no problem from the enterprises. There is a problem of the small and medium size. Until unless we leverage that level of an education for them, we can ensure the entire logistics happening in the chemical industry in a safe manner.
Thank you, Dr. Rafi. That was very promptly put up. You put up a couple of slides, and this is really amplifies and puts the thing in its correct perspective. Thank you so much for this. So we all agree on one thing. There is one thing we always need to learn from the best practices. Need to learn from the best practices. What it is, it is the best practices. What Jubilant is doing, or what Cosmos is doing. We need to share that and ensure it is just not about Jubilant being safe, the Jubilant's commodity being but the same. There is also other commodity going on the same ship. They do not follow the same sort of safe principles. Jubilant's cargo also gets jeopardized. Now, this is what it is. That is what I'm trying to finally get. At the end of the day, we as a community, EXIM community, the EXIM community of chemicals needs to be fully aware, get on the platform, get aware. We consider that safety, compliance is topmost. If we have to achieve this continued double-digit growth, we need to achieve these two: safe and compliant. That is utmost. And how do we achieve it? Well, can I have the first speaker? Okay, we will go to Ghanshyamji this time. First one. How do we want to achieve this safe and compliant? All right.
Thanks, Mr. Iyer, once again. So, see, as we keep on hearing that we have to be highly efficient product, high quality product, right? And in this last 2 years, we have seen that multiple companies are moving away from China and looking for other avenues. India is considered to be one of the important because of the multiple reason. Labor cost is low. Now government is supporting the giving the single window solutions and all those stuff. Plus new waterway policy of 2016 has come up, and so many things are happening. So that bring attention of the world to India. When attention is coming, everything is visible. And that's why now we as an industry has to focus a lot on compliances, quality, safety for all the products. I feel that to ensure all these measures, first of all, proper understanding is required. We as a industry leaders know what is required, but like Dr. Rafi has presented, multiple smaller companies are, the percentage of smaller companies higher. They may or may not follow all the norms. So first of all, there should be a proper awareness. Training program should be organized for the industry. Second, in terms of a transportation, the issue which I highlighted has to be taken care very, very seriously. There should be some certifying body who certify for the chemical movement only and not allowing any other movement. What happens generally, they take approval for A movement, but they add B also. So that has to be followed. Third, the enforcement bodies should be trained enough to check on the road movement that what is going. Like for example, I have seen multiple times that stock is moving, multiple stock is moving in our lorry. So when they checked, they found, okay, these are the 20 items, that's fine. But these 20 items can go together or not go together. I'm not sure everyone is expert in that or not. So the enforcement has to be more stringent if we want to be move from 9 to 6th level or a 5th level of action. That's my suggestion.
Thanks, Ghanshyamji. What you basically summed it up as awareness, training. If you are aware and you are trained, and there should be a proper regulatory body. All right, these are the three main takeaways from you. Seemaji, what would you attribute to please?
I think it's basically the same. I think awareness training, and this cannot be anything more to add. That and the awareness has to be in all platforms. I think Daljit just mentioned that they already have a training institute with the JNPT port, so it has to reach to the door. I would say that. I mean, it should not just be restricted to a port institute having a DG training. So it has to be, more corporates coming in, so that's what I mean. It has to be at a different level for this kind of a impact to come in. It cannot be just to few areas. So at a larger scale.
Beautiful. We go back to the thing: awareness, training, and the compliance, regulatory compliance. These are three things when you take one, and it should not be just at the ports and terminals and few things. It needs to be all across. It just not. That means industry as a whole needs to have its own internal mechanisms, because once it has its own internal mechanisms, everything else will fall into place. This is what it is. You have the Chemexil here, you have the various people, most of the people are all saying, where is Chemexil now here to push forward this case? Awareness. Because today everyone needs to, if you're going to be an exporter, whether a merchant exporter or manufacturer exporter, there is need to be regulation. There is registrations which is compulsory. Where is the responsibility there? I think we need to shout and we need to ensure that these are the things which is more critical of that. All right, Daljit ji, your take on this before I go back to the field.
I think it's all similar. I think training and awareness is the key. But my personal view is that whole training also needs to percolate down to the most basic level. And that is where sometimes, I have observed that the training is almost limited to the top management or even the staff in the office. But if it percolates down to levels of the operations, to even the drivers, how they need to do that, that is very important. I was told in Europe when I was there is that, drivers have limited driving time per day, cannot drive beyond a certain stipulated time. which also makes that they are quite aware of the, they're driving in the sensors and they probably get the right kind of product at the right place. In India, you have long driving hours. That's again a sort of. So I think the whole compliance or the training aspect go down to the real base level. That is something.
Dr. Rafi, your views on this, please.
Sir, from the day one, we are enforcing for having the proper logistics. We have given initiating this training, awareness, all these aspects. And though we have taken one step forward, so what we did, we have taken, we are ensuring that they are doing the proper packing for all the logistics. So we have provided all the packing material for the logistic companies. So who wherever our chemical logistics is taking place. So we are ensuring all the three play as per the IITA standards. We are providing the packing materials for all the chemical products to the suppliers or the manufacturer. So that it may be first once we provide for this packing material for them, so they understanding that till now I'm not handling properly. So this packing materials, the standards is improving my capacity to the next level. So first 3 months we have provided the packing material, packing standard. So any shipment we are doing for a chemical, we are delivering through the marketplace. So you have to be ensured that your material has to be packed as per our packing standards. So the next 3 months we have stopped this. Then immediately they understand that, sir, till now we are getting a proper packing standards and we are getting a good visibility. So we have to maintain the same way. So now then it's become that a habit for them. So that they had ensured that they should be having a proper packing in addition to the awareness and everything. Now all our the suppliers or the manufacturers, they are ensuring that there is no damage in the product, there is no leakage, or there is no improper packing of the materials. So we have taken the one step forward rather than when we are getting in the COVID symptom. So most of the people wear the mask, but if you're not having anything, you're completely leaving this. So that's why we have taken one step, make it as a habit for them. So having a proper packing standards that will create the awareness to the next level persons also.
Thanks, Dr. Rafi. I again come back to you on this second question. Now, digitalization, let's use the word simple, digitalization. Digitalization, people talk about everything. Digitalization is here to stay. And I would like you to announce more, few lines on what is digitalization as an enabler and facilitator for chemical supply chain logistics solution, especially how will digitalization assist us in ensuring the next level, this Indian chemical industry to go into the next level, please.
So this is amazing what we are doing with the complete government support. Till now, from the basic paracetamol to any chemical, we are looking for other countries how we can take it. What we are bringing through the digitization, as I rightly mentioned, we are taking digitization is in a power and enabling all the chemical businesses together in a one place, and so that if there is any need of these chemical businesses, like for one manufacturer to produce 1,500 metric tons of the paracetamol raw material is the biggest challenge. But if we can think like a 1,500, the same 15 manufacturers, if we can contributing the 100 metric tons each, it's acceptable for everyone. So what we are taking, just a give and take and sharing their ownership to each other. So what we are doing, instead of depending on a huge quantity of material from others, that why don't you empower your local manufacturers? So that's where we are bringing to this ecosystem, rather than getting from other countries. And why don't you bring from your local supply? You can solve this problem through the digitization support. That's we are. So that whatever the discussion we are taking, make in India, strengthen Atmanirbhar, that we are taking care of right now in chemical industry.
Thanks. Thank you, Dr. Rafi. Like I see that Carbonio is doing human services and that, best wishes and things like that. Dr. Ghanshyam Singh, your thing on digitalization as an enabler, sir.
So I, as a person, I always prefer digitization. Okay, so digitization is, I feel, is a must. Level of digitization is a question, because it's in nowadays not having a digitization. I think I'm not sure which company is working without digitization. So I feel that digitization can help in a multiple ways. One, For example, from a sourcing point of view, for if I need to buy a material from some country, and now we know the shipping challenges. So if that material is available with some distributor in India, if I have some platform like Amazon, where I can see data and buy the material, that will help. Although some of the small company has started it, but it's not at a very big level. First, second, like Dr. Rafi mentioned, the movement of goods. So, if movement of chemical movement, or if we know that from where to where the trucks are moving, chemical movements are happening. What are the companies expert in chemical? If we get those data from some digital method, that will help. Third, for a movement or for a storage and movement, some product need the temperature control. Okay, although reefer industry has evolved a lot in India now, uh, but by having a digitization, we can have a temperature tracking. What temperature is at the time of storage of warehouse loading and while moving. So that tracking we can have, and system is nowadays giving a deviation reports also, which can be used for any insurance claim and other stuff also. So that will help. Apart from that, you can, through digitization, you can open yourself to connect with the people. Like for example, in Cosmo Films, we have launched one supplier link. So earlier, what used to happen, the chemical supply used to search on a Google and find out someone, then connect and then approach for the raw material. Right? Now we have given the link. They can come, register, and we can call them. So that ease out the entire process.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Like, okay, Simaji, your take on this digitalization as an enabler. Of course, it is like there's no two ways about it. How are you harnessing the digital thing in your arena?
So I think digitization, I would start, I think my personal view is that two industries which can really benefit from digitization is fintech and supply chain. So fintech, we've already evolved a lot, right? After demonetization, we've evolved a lot. We've seen so many UPIs coming in and the Paytms and everything. But supply chain, it has started, and it was, I think, it just picked up speed after COVID. All of us have seen that COVID has actually forced us to, even the companies which were not ready to adopt digitization measures were forced to adopt it, were forced to see the benefits of it. We are seeing the benefits of it. You know, we're just on a digital platform, connecting with each other and sharing knowledge. So this is one. Yeah, we do miss the samosas and the tea parties of a conference or the lunches. We do miss that and the physical connect. But I mean, this gives you more time to use your things. And I think a revolution would happen actually in supply chain when the blockchain comes in. So the blockchain connectivity would actually revolutionize supply chain the way it has happened in fintech. So with blockchain, I've had meetings with a couple of vendors who've already initiated, though it's not really picked up speed. But from all that I understand, it's just going to connect each person. You don't need system. You don't need documents. You don't. I mean, it's going to be visible. So digitization is all about visibility. It's all about. I think somebody just spoke about. I think Ansham spoke about the confidence that you have that historically we would know if it's a data which is there, it helps you make right decisions, because the visibility improves. So and in the tiring times that we've seen, at least we if we had digitized tracking, we could be aware of where the delays are happening, though we couldn't do much, but at least an information to the customer. So I mean, it has a lot of benefits, but it's still on a very, very nascent stage for supply chain, and it has to still evolve. That's my take on it.
Okay. At this stage, I would like to share. There is this lovely thing which, under the aegis of the central government, there is this national logistic platform which is happening. There is the port committee system happening. But this is all the good things which is happening. It's all it is work in progress. It's not full income. I'm talking of what India is all about. It's that We need a proper port community system. We need a cargo community system. It's that's what the government is working on. It is the national logistic platform. I was also part of the think tank on that. But as you rightly said, visibility, transparency all across. You must, all of you, all of the entire. I would again request everyone to look at the logistic data bank, and you can literally track and trace all your boxes moving across from your thing all across to the port, or your import boxes coming in. Now, logistic data bank, NLB, it is still there and it is still working. It might be slightly, it is sometimes much better than what your forwarder can tell you. All right, you would have much better information. And the PCS, yes, it is work in progress. Hopefully things will. If we are to talk of PCS or the cargo committee system in the port which I represent, or in Port of Antwerp, we understand that all these things, everything is digitized. There is no need of all these things, physical movement of waiting for approvals. All these things are, the entire things, documents, and everything is digitized. So it moves smoothly from approvals to proper coordination. Everything is all streamlined and digitized. India has a base, and India will have to reach there if we have to go over the thing. I would request Daljit ji to share his view on the digitization, and then we go on to the quick last two questions. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, digitization or technology has to be an enabler where different stakeholders of the industry can talk to each other. And as Seema just mentioned, that there has to be a lot of communication that has to go on, and it could be by way of either Zoom calls or by way of your quicker communications. But you also need to also look at some of the new upcoming platforms that could enable kind of sharing of information between the stakeholders of different organizations, and which also means that there would be a proper track and trace. There would be proper communication in terms of how the when and where the logistics as a hurdle, or how much time you need for kind of setting up prior in advance of getting your raw materials to do that. We as a port, we have developed a kind of a platform for our port. So for our port, we look at digitization in two forms. One is in terms of how we manage the container flow or the cargo flow at the port, and for which we have developed a kind of a platform, which is an open platform for sharing information between different stakeholders called NextPort, which enables, for example, a ship is coming into the port. Before the ship is berthed, you can actually know where the container has to go. So the next mode of transportation for the container is well planned well in advance, along with the warehousing requirements or any specific things that you need to do. In terms of the port handling, we look at probably, because as I said, we are a big port, we are almost 14,000 hectares of land. We have to communicate between all our different entities at the port. We also have kind of a private 5G network at the port, which is a private network developed by the port and the Antwerp city. We have a real-time mapping of the port, where because it's a big chemical cluster, there could be various instances where there are a lot of gases being released. So we have sensors, camera, drones taking care of all those things. I'd just like to play a quick video for half a minute, which gives you the total. If you allow me, sorry, if you allow me that.
I will give it to you at the end of the thing. Before that,
sure.
let's have 1 minute, because we do not want to overshot the.
So perfectly all right. Just that okay. The video would give an insight of what we do.
Yeah, I will give you share the screen. You have it. Ghanshyamji, you go on. Your 2 lines answer to what would be your wish list for a sustainable growth in chemical industry, and especially with you. Thank you. Okay. The question is sustainable, your overview, your wish list in 2 sentences, please. Thank you.
Having a green infrastructure and opportunity to grow.
Perfect. That is exactly. And your wish list for what would you see for these are the 2 things for the chemical industry. Thank you so much. Seema ji, your turn.
I agree with Ghanshyam, but I would like to have my wish list is, I think I'm just aiming big. I want to see India manufacturing ISO tanks, India manufacturing containers, and India owning a shipping line. This is from the country point of view. I mean, that because we've seen the damage it has caused. We didn't have our own shipping line. We didn't have our own containers, the kind of shortages we have faced. We didn't have our own ISO tankers. So my wish list is bigger than Shyam's.
I sincerely hope that the concerned authorities are listening. 1, 2 is easy. The last one on the shipping lines, I do not, no comments from my end. Dr. Rafi, yours.
Sir,
Wish list.
wish list is we want to be as an India from representing from India. If we go for any country, we should just fulfill the country needs of a global. So if you want to fulfill the country needs, like if you go for any country like a Japan, how many chemicals we need. So as an India, we can able to deliver. So if you want to have that level of the confidence, we have to leverage all our digital infrastructure or the chemical, including the logistics infrastructure, everything, so that we can use this. How we can proudly say this? Hey, we can deliver this product for across the globe. So for this, all the movements as we are working together, so all the infrastructure, like last 20 years, we are seeing the huge infrastructure development. Now we are seeing into the chemical industry. So this can enable us to the grow to the bigger.
My thing, before I let Daljit play his video, I want to share my wish list. Is very simple. My wish list is very simple. Safe, 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 and compliant. If you are safe, if you have a product of quality, if the entire chain, supply chain, which I always talk about, is compliant, right from packaging to end, if we have this ingrained in our full community, in the full EXIM community of right from manufacturers to the logisticians to the warehouse keepers to the everything, if we all complain, that is my only wish list. The moment you are a sanitized lot, if you are sanitized, the whole world will look at you. That is all I want. My wish list is a clean and compliant, safe environment for us. Safe players for us. Daljit ji, you could share your video and all yours. And then
just before I share my video, but I think one of the things I want to add is that, I would love to see a closer cooperation between the different stakeholders across the globe, because that would enable us to, probably tackle any future disruptions that may happen.
Yeah.
Just sharing quickly my video about the kind of digitization we have at the port. Just give you an idea. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll have to just reshare it again because I didn't have the video played. Sound. Okay.
Good morning and welcome back. General status report. Today is an overall sunny day, with a light breeze from the northwest. Port traffic is busy as usual at this time of day, with 221 barges and 180 seagoing vessels in port. We're expecting 95 new arrivals and 73 departures today. Road mobility is within efficiency norms. There are 2 INOS quality alerts and 1 ongoing event. Would you like to investigate? At 8:51, INOS 22 detected possible hazardous compounds. Analyzing. According to historic wind data and ship tracking, a possible cause might be the chemical tanker My Fair Lady. Would you like to collect an air sample? Please select available UAV. Calculating flight trajectory. ETA in 1 minute 30 seconds. Initiate. Confirmed. I am Apika. Welcome to the port of the future.
Well,
Thank you so much, Daljit. That was a wonderful one for sharing the latest technologies which are being harnessed for the benefit of the full trade users there at Antwerp. Lovely. That is really sharing the love thing. Now, these are the things which one must take away from whereas when we talk about share the highlights of various things around the world, share the knowledge from various things of the world. This is important. When we talk about supply chain, when we say things like just in time, we talk about India plus one, just in time to just in case. All these things are fine, but visibility, as you said, is top on the agenda. And when you are able to do something like what Daljit has just shared, these are the good things which when we all about. This will continue to be on the wish list of Indians. I can share many more things when I have been to Antwerp, which has been there, or when I regularly go as a representative to Le Havre. I can share that you know exactly at what time it is birthing, where is my box which is moving, where is it, what is happening. All these things are available whether in Le Havre or in Antwerp or Rotterdam and Hamburg. But why can't we do the same thing? It's the same technology, same there. It is like Indians are not lagging behind anywhere in technology or anywhere else in the world. Why can't we have the same thing? This is what is continues to be when on my wish list. Even though I wear my hat as the representative of a port of Aropa, the वो बोलते हैं ना patriotism अपने side पे अंदर से रहता ही है. Why can't I also do it in the same way? So with this, I thank you one and all. And if anybody likes to share the last wish list, fine. I think we are just about on time on there. Otherwise, thank you all, one and all. Thank you so much for being part. And I hand you over to the organizers. Thank you so much.